Hi.
We are.
My question is about how we bring messages like Jerry and Esther do into being, because I know at this point in my life that I am very interested in spreading messages like Jerry and Esther do, and what I'm wanting to know more about is how much of that comes from the metaphysical side and how much of that comes from myself physically kind of arranging the information. For example, if an artist is bringing these messages to people in art form, how much of that comes from the other side and how much of that comes from his own ability to arrange that in a way that physically people on the leading edge can understand?
Oh, it's a wonderful question, because what you're talking about is how non-physical energy expresses itself in a physical format and how the blending of the two equals whatever it is that you're creating. In other words, in the same way that Jerry's asking and Esther's allowing have resulted in this Abraham experience that you are participating in here, every creation is just that way. Someone from a physical format, from life experience, comes to a desire that summons, but then the summoner must also get into the place of allowing what it is they are summoning. So in that very real sense, everything that is created is inspired. When people talk about something being inspired, often what they mean is it comes from source. It comes from God. It comes from non-physical. But we want to say that it was your life experience that caused you to ask, so what really inspired it? And then we say, but your life experience caused you to ask for it, but then source answered it. Well, is that the inspiration? But then you couldn't receive what was being answered until you got vibrationally up to speed with it. So was that the creation of it? And we say all of the components of it are necessary. The leading edge asker must have experiences that cause you to ask. Then the source energy will answer every single time, no matter who's asking, not just Esther, not just you, everyone. But the one who is asked, in order to fully receive what they are asking for, must become a vibrational match for it. And what we really want to say in specific answer to your question is, it isn't created by the non-physical and it isn't created by the physical. Everything is a combination of the two. We've said many times about Jerry and Esther that Jerry's life experience had put him in the place of powerful asking. And it was his life and the questions that were formulated within him that were and still are the basis of that Abraham energy stream. But Jerry would not have allowed himself to express Abraham in the way Esther has. He has never let go of control. He will not quiet his mind. In other words, he is not good at the allowing part of this translation process. He's really good at the living of life and the coming to clear, powerful desire. Esther was not really very good at coming to the place of really powerful desires. She was just bipping along and living happily ever after. So Esther is much more accentuated toward the allowing. Jerry was much more accentuated toward the asking. And the combination of the two of them is what answered this equation. So we cannot give more credit to the asking or more credit to the allowing, because without either part of it, you would not have this leading edge experience. So now we say the basketball player is experiencing something similar. His life is causing him to ask, and his expectation, because of his training, has put him in this place of expecting. And so the expertise that you see happening from him is an inspired experience. The physician who is performing surgery, not different from that. The musician, the author. In other words, all of you are inspired. All of you are source energy in physical bodies. And it really does not matter what subject you're talking about. You can't separate you from you. And the more you try to separate you from you, the worse you feel. The more you try to come into alignment, the better you feel. And so that really is that same old answer we always give, isn't it?
Yeah.
Get in alignment with who you are and let the combination of all that you are rip. Did we get close enough to what you were looking for?
Yes, we did. May I ask another question?
Certainly.
Something else that I wanted to know was if you had any advice as to how to maintain close relationships or romantic relationships in which one of the people is open to these ideas and is kind of on this journey and the other is not. I know enough certainly not to try and convert someone else, but just how to be able to manage it and to still be able to grow together.
When we talk about the art of allowing, we're talking about you lining up with you. We're not talking about you lining up with somebody else. We're talking about you lining up with you. And so when you are lined up with you, then whatever they're doing is easier for you to understand. In other words, when you're tuned in, tapped in, turned on, your timing is good and you say the right thing at the right time. Mm-hmm. When you're not in alignment with who you are, anything could happen. So the very premise of what we are teaching here, the basis of this art of allowing, is you and everyone else came forth into this experience wanting to explore the variety and contrast in order to give birth to new ideas. You never once said from your non-physical perspective, I'll go forth and convince all of them the error of their ways. Instead, you said, I'll go forth and out of that variety, I will be inspired to something new. So when you think about it, we just pointed out some very strong differences in Jerry and Esther. Mm-hmm. Jerry has been a goal setter. Jerry has been someone who fixates on something and doesn't let loose of it. In other words, Jerry has been a thinker, a reader, a studier. In other words, Jerry was really after answers. He had so many questions that were formulated within him, mm-hmm. which made him very different from Esther because she was just not that inquisitive about things. She was willing to let people think whatever they wanted. Jerry said when he met her that she was the least opinionated person that he'd ever met, that she just didn't have a strong opinion about anything, that she was willing to just really let others live whatever it is that they were wanting to, and she didn't form strong biases against anything. She wasn't pushing against anything. So you will not meet two people who were more different in that sense than they were, but what a nice combination they make. And so what we're getting at here is that when you're letting your desire be to be in alignment with who you are, then you can actually not only embrace but really appreciate the differences in those, especially those that are creating up close to you, because in the variety that the two of you generate, you will come to clearer conclusions. Nothing is more boring than to walk around with someone who thinks and believes everything exactly as you do. In other words, no new ideas are ever born out of such a combination. Mm-hmm. But when you vary slightly or greatly, the combination of what you are causes both of you to send all kinds of rockets of desires forward. Oh, it's such a wonderful question, and it brings forth such a divine answer. So you, in your combination with someone not just like you, from your perspective, launch all kinds of preferences, and so does the other. Mm-hmm. And those preferences, whether you know it or not, are leading you both to the same place. How about that? Those people that you disagree with the most give birth to rockets of desires because of their interaction with you, and you give birth to rockets of desires because of your interaction with them, and your desires are very similar desires out here in your vibrational escrow. So when you practice looking for things that feel good, when you turn the other cheek, when you try to find the positive aspect, when you live life in the most positive way you can find, you rendezvous with what you've given birth to, which means you rendezvous with what you and they have given birth to. And as they find reasons to feel good, they rendezvous too. In other words, Jerry and Esther, it was no accident that in their positive quest, they ended up in the same place. Because what's downstream is what's downstream. In other words, you will dovetail with all kinds of wonderful things. You couldn't if you had to. If we gave you today or 100 days or 1,000 days or 1,000,000 days, you could not accurately verbally describe what's in your vibrational escrow, because you have created it incrementally with one thought, one experience at a time. And the same with your partner, the same with any of your co-creative partners. So what's amassing for you in this vibrational escrow is this incredible potential of harmony. And when you get in alignment with you, you go right to it. And when the other gets in alignment, they go right to it. And then you both think it was your idea. Jerry and Esther argue lovingly and incessantly about just that thing, because they end up at the same place at the same time on so many subjects, and they each think it was their idea because they got there and it was exploding in their mind. And what we're wanting them and you to realize is that it's over there being realized by whoever gets there. And as Jerry and Esther often get there at the same time, it explodes within them. Co-creating is so delicious, you see. As you're looking for positive aspects in the other so that you're staying tuned into who you are, then you extract the best from the other, but more importantly, you rendezvous with the things that your life has caused you to create. And what the other does is really up to them. Just keep in mind that everything that you want is downstream, and that if you find any reason to criticize any other, you're going upstream. And that's what causes people to think that they're incompatible with others. You look at the circumstances or the manifestation of something in someone's experience, and if you find it not pleasing and you push against it, what happens is it separates you from all of this stuff that's amassing downstream for you. And then, because you feel rotten and because under those conditions you can't get to what you want, you think it's their fault. And we say, well, all they were was the inspiration for your disconnection. But your disconnection, your allowing or your not allowing, is totally up to you. So what we would say to anyone that we were co-creating with is, some things I've come to know are, I love feeling good, because when I feel good, I'm in alignment with who I really am. And that is my dominant quest. So I'm going to make lists of things, your positive aspects. In fact, I make lists of positive aspects of everything. And what you're going to discover about me is that I want so much to feel good that sometimes I completely ignore reality while I look at what feels good. And by doing that, I stay in alignment with all of my dreams, and my dreams all come true. So you might find me detached if you're beating the drum of something that neither one of us want. You might find me unwilling to complain with you. But the good news is, while I clearly will not be there for you while you are complaining, the good news is, I will be so nice to live with because I'm always going to feel good. And say to them, I'm maybe one of the most selfish people that you will ever meet, which is the greatest gift I could give to you. Now, they're not going to get that right away. But later on, as you demonstrate that you are so good at turning your attention downstream, you are so good at coming into alignment with who you are, that you are always clear-minded and feeling good. And in your alignment, you never find flaws in them or in anything else. And then you can say to them, as I have discovered this, I am not going to hold you responsible ever for the way I feel. I am completely responsible. So I'm not going to ask you to be or do or have anything different than you choose. I'm self-sufficient. I can maintain my happiness, and I promise you that I will. And we say, whether they know it in the beginning or not, that is the greatest gift that you could give them. Because if you let them off the hook, when you say, I don't feel good, and it's because you need to do something different, what a trap that puts you in, and an impossible situation it puts them in. But when you say, I know what to do, all I have to do is find thoughts that line me up with me, and when I've lined up with me, I'm going to get the best from everything, including you. In other words, what you're actually saying to that person is, you are going to be delightful when you're with me, because I will train myself not to expect anything else. So get ready to feel delightful, because I'm going to suck it right out of you. That's what you're actually saying. Get ready to feel like the most loved person on the planet. Get ready to feel like the most brilliant person on the planet. Get ready to feel like the most adored person on the planet, because I'm coaching myself every day to resonate with those positive aspects of you, which means you're free to do anything that you need to do. whatever you do won't affect me. I'm good.
Thank you.
Those are wonderful marriage vows.